Okay, so I just want to go over some of the decisions made when making my game and just some of the finer details about it. I want to start off with the rationale. So, pretty much when I was looking at the asset packs provided to us for this project, I thought it was clear that they were inspired by modern New York City and their subway system. I felt like it would just be easy with all the virus themed assets to create a game inspired by a bit of a COVID scenario, as that was very recent as well and would fit the timescale. I also knew that if I wanted to make a game in a different setting, such as historic or futuristic, I would need to make new assets, and it just wasn't worth it with the timescale provided. In the brief for this project, we were told to set up cameras that would be able to clock the progression and evolution of our games. So here's the image of my first camera setup locations. You can see it's very early, there's a lot that's unfinished, and then here's my next images. You can see on this that I've done like a lot of changes to the lighting, moved around a lot of assets, put new ones in, and also started working more on some of the level design theory. Okay, now I want to go over some of the level design theory that I was able to get into my game. Uh, the first thing that I'd like to go over is breadcrumbs. In this image you can see that I've got this, it's like a floor light fixture asset that I was able to just scatter around the map. I was putting these on the player's objectives and just on the path that they need to be following. Like maybe they'll go into a new area and they'll see this like 20 meters away, and they just know that if they follow these, then they're going to be able to get to the objective. I've also used a breadcrumb of coloured lighting, so you can probably see here in the middle and left image that the lights near the objectives of the player are also orange tinted, whereas the ones that are just using whereas the lights that are just there to light the space are white. This is so that the player knows that if they're in the orange light, they're just closer to their objective, and it just makes the level easier to understand. We also featured valves and pinch points in my game. The valves, as you can see on the far right image, it's just a door where I put the hitbox on one side of the door, so that it only works on one side. So once the player walks through, now they're locked off from that previous area. I've just done this to avoid confusion. Obviously, there's a lot of time where the player might think they still need to find something in an area where they've already finished that area. So just a good way to block them out of it. You can also see the use of pinch points on the far left image. I've used this. I know it's not an amazing example, but I had to have the player to go into this small area so that he could trigger a hitbox and then start an animation and start a level change. As this was crucial to how the game flowed. Okay, I just want to go over the use of leading lines and visual language shapes in my game. So for the language shapes, I've just done a quick use of it where pretty much in my interact interface, I've done two separate ones. One of them is the pickup widget and one of them is interact. So if the player's going to go and pick something up, it shows a square, whereas if they go to interact with something like a door, it'll show a circle instead. These are both just things in the middle of their screen to tell what they're looking at. But anyway, so yeah, it'll show a square for pickups. This just makes it easier for a knowledgeable player to understand the level and understand what they need to do. Next, we've got the leading lines. I've only done a subtle use of these, you can see in the bottom right image. So I've tried to angle the lights that I've got hanging off the ceiling towards the player's objective. This just makes it easier to understand. And in the top right image you can see I've got an exit sign and a boarding area sign, both pointing towards the gate, which is straight ahead. Hopefully this just leads the player's eyes a little bit to their objective, just a little bit more. Alright, so I'm quickly going to go over affordance. So on the doors, you can see in these images, I've tried to bake a bit of an aesthetic theme with them to show that they're interactable. So I've done this through lighting them. So you can see on the far left, there's a green light above it. That shows that it's a key door. In the middle one, you can see there's a orange glowing light above. This is just near most of my doors that aren't very clear. Just so you can easily follow the objective, as they are highlighted with orange lighting instead of white. And then there's a red light on top of my far right door. That's just to show that it's a switch door and it'll need to be switched before it can be used. But yeah, and then there's the scratches that I've used on the doors and on the floor of the middle one. That's just to yet again support the theme and just show that these are interactable as well.